Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the final video of Centipede. What we're going to do in this video is go over all of the different stuff that is needed to make this centipede work and to prove to you that the centipede does function as he's supposed to. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to boot up the game and just kind of give you like a little bit of a demo on how the centipede splits and how he stays in the bottom area when, he reaches the bottom and how the poison behavior interacts with him. So I'm going to go ahead and let the sound run so you can hear the sound first. So I'm going to go ahead and mute that. The scorpion's going to spawn a lot because I wanted to really show you the poison behavior and that the poison behavior does work. So he should be spawning about every 1 second. I did set it right here to be 1 second. So yeah, he should, there it goes, oh my god, he hit the poison. So yeah, as you can see, once the centipede gets to the bottom, he stays in the player area. So when you shoot him, he splits properly, and he stays in the bottom area, which is behavior that is exactly the same as, well, exactly as it's supposed to be. And when you kill him, he spawns a mushroom. And yeah, he'll just stay down the bottom of the area. And oh god, oh my god, oh my god. So when I kill him, it'll start the second level, and you'll notice that oh my god, oh my god. You'll notice that it'll spawn the proper amount of heads that it's supposed to. So watch, it'll spawn a scorpion or a centipede, and now it's gonna spawn an extra head after him because this is level 2. So I have that recognition going, and this is gonna be crazy because all these are poisoned. But yeah, so that's how the centipede is functionally working on screen. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the code. So what I have here is a centipede controller. This is the base class, and this kind of has, basic stuff like it has the offset, the rotation, the previous offset, the orientation, which is another fancy word for rotation, previous orientation, and it has it has the tail, and it has the forward. So a lot of this is prototypes of stuff that I didn't have enough time to kind of sift through, but ultimately the end product does work. Had I had longer than 10 weeks, I would be more than happy to go back in here and clean it up. Like I said before, there's a lot of things I learned that I would have liked to employ. For instance, one of the most important things I learned was base classes. I didn't really understand them until in Optimized we went over it, and then I really kind of got the hang of it. So to start out with, we have the centipede head. The centipede head is created from the centipede spawner, and the centipede spawner kind of handles all the business, like how what's our number of segments that we have, how many numbers of heads do we have, and then it subtracts the segment length so that it stays appropriate to the total amount of entities of centipede entities that are on screen. So when it gets created from a centipede factory. And the centipede factory holds both the segments and the head, and it has a stack for each, and it has functions for each. Recycle centipede head, recycle centipede segment, and it also has the singleton attributes and the static public functions. And then if you go in here, it has the null pointer, cleans up after itself, and basically just operates like every other factory that that operates in this game. It gets created, it gets initialized. Let's see if we can find this initialization. It gets initialized, and if the count is above 0, it'll go ahead and it'll create a segment, and this will kind of like recursively. It'll recursively go. It sets has tail to true, and then creates a new centipede segment, and it'll just keep going recursively through there when it's done. When it's done creating, let's try to get to the initialization function so you can see what I'm talking about here. right here. So like at the bottom, it'll decrement the count, and then it'll see if it's not 0. Well, create another tail, and then it'll just keep going for on and on and on until it gets to 0. So yeah, it starts off moving down, and I put the state machine in. I really like the state machine. I think we were supposed to put the different classes in different files. I didn't have the time to do that. I really want to, but again, like I said, I gotta start working on this particle system, and then I gotta study for math in the optimized final. So for now, it's functional. It works. I understand the importance of putting it in a different file. So definitely in my future projects, that's going to be a for sure thing to do. But yeah, so the update's pretty simple because of that move state. I save all of the values of my current centipede. For some reason, this solves the being behind by one cell. For some reason, this solves it when I shoot it. If I save it both in the if and out of the if, it fixes that that gap, and that's much better than having an extra if statement, which seems like a lot of other people are doing. So I'm okay with that. A lot of my friends, they don't understand it. They're like, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't supposed to really fix anything by their logic, but it does. So I kept it. But yeah, so it just it goes through the get the next state, and then it just goes ahead and it moves, and the move function it adds the position from the array that was passed to it, decrements the index, and updates the position of the main sprite. And then when it does that, it goes ahead and it saves the previous orientation and previous state, so that when the centipede segment, when it does the similar thing, it goes through its update. It will go ahead. Let me try and find this guy right here. It'll go ahead and it'll actually grab forward. It'll go, okay, yeah. Can you do me a favor? Can you go ahead and get forward's previous state, and can you get forward's previous direction, and get set the offset that you currently had to previous offset, and then go ahead and get all of those all of the information from the forward position, and then save it as what you want to do. I keep the offset in here for the sole purpose is that when a new head is created, I have to set the new head's offset so it knows which direction it's looking at. So I feel like, I thought about the cost, and, maybe there should be some other way rather than saving the offset. But in the end, I ended up passing the offset down, and, it's not an if statement, so I guess it's not the end of the world. But, ultimately, had I had more time, I would have liked to do a better method that would have been much cleaner and more efficient. So it basically does the same thing that the head does. Just goes ahead and adds the array, decrements the index, and adds it to the position, and then updates the sprite when that happens. And then when it gets shot, if it collides, where's this guy? Right here. So if it gets shot, it clears the tail of the forward guy. It marks the other object for destroy, and then it goes ahead and it checks to see if the tail is a null pointer, and if it's not, it converts the head. Now, the reason why I do this, and the reason why I don't check the Boolean, is because the engine teal, it's a little finicky with the marking for destroy. Sometimes it'll zero out the pointer. Sometimes the pointer or the memory that returns will be CD, 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 or D, 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 or any variation. So I have the hybrid of a Boolean and checking to see if tail is equal to null pointer to kind of work around that. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the problem is with the way that teal cleans things up, because some of the other students have been saying that they've been encountering issues with that as well. So it tells its tail to go ahead and convert to head, and what this does is it creates a new head using the factory. This is just another, because I was getting a lot of null pointer errors, a lot of them, and I just really couldn't figure it out. So it's just this is an extra level of protection. I don't even know if it's necessary or not. But then it goes ahead and it initializes it, and it sets the offset to the offset that it has, sets the rotation to the rotation it's supposed to have, and yeah, basically, it sets the previous direction to the previous direction. That way, it can kind of continue as if nothing happened, and the guy behind him can grab the direction from behind him. The rotate and the rotation are two separate things. The rotate is it's there so that the segments can grab the rotation, and this rotation is setting the main sprite to it's setting the rotation of the new head to this sprite's current rotation. I have not looked at this code for a while. But yeah, so then it just goes ahead and it appends the linked list and fixes it up so that it works as it's supposed to. And then it goes into the wave manager and it says, hey, we have one more new Centipede head. So go ahead and mark that down. As you can see, I still have this going on. Centipede heads left. They'll kind of decrement as you kill them, and that's how it knows when the next level comes. So yeah, a lot of this code is prototype. It's old, but again, I didn't have time to clean it up, so it's kind of moved it out of the way. If I didn't have optimized, man, this would be a pristine project right now. But yeah, so this is the self-destruct for when the Centipede gets poisoned, or not poisoned. I'm sorry, gets deleted at the end of each when like the player dies. It pauses them and then it goes ahead and it kills them. So yeah, this is how the Centipede segment works for now. Well, I had more time, I'd probably change a lot about it, but this is how it works. And basically, I have two different collisions, one for the ship, one for the blaster, so that way, it knows the difference. So yeah, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to continue back from where we were. It marks for destroy. It adds the score system. We've already seen that. And then I have a linker class. So this was an interesting thing I thought would be kind of an interesting way to do it, because I knew the mushroom field couldn't be a singleton, and that it had to be, because there would be multiple ones for each player. So I decided to create a linker class that would kind of grab all the super important objects, and then they'd be able to give them to whoever wanted them without having to go through all of the nonsense of saving pointers and whatnot. So it returns the mushroom field that's being used and saves it, and then it goes ahead and it checks to see if there's a shroom there, and it adds a mushroom there if it's not there. This obviously was here for debugging purposes, and then it creates an explosion because it blows up, and the explosion comes from the explosion factory, and all that. So yeah, the movement state is responsible for making sure that the centipede stays in the bottom of the screen. So he checks to see if the row is equal to the bottom row, then it goes up. But if it's moving up, let's see if I can find this one. Turn up, switch to whatever. Turn up, switch. Yep, here we go. So if it's greater than top player row, then it'll let's see. Oh, if the row is greater than, so yeah, if it's at the bottom, it'll keep going up. Otherwise, if it's like exceeding that, it'll turn down instead. So that's kind of how that works. The poison behavior is much unchanged, pretty much from what you gave with the move state. It's really nice. Looking through your code, it really kind of opened my eyes to how modular code can be, and how you can just kind of plug stuff in if you make clean enough code, you can just kind of plug stuff in. So that was a really cool thing. I adopted the enum class, so I kind of changed my code so that you'd have clear, blocked, and poison. And then it checks to see if there's if it's poisoned, if it's blocked, or if it's open. Now here's the problem: is that I had to put this in here because for whatever reason, when it gets to the edge, sometimes it'll return a null pointer, and sometimes it won't. So it just kind of depends on what's at that part of memory at the time. So if it goes to like spawn grid -1, 2, maybe there'll be data at -1, 2 somewhere in the memory of my computer, but sometimes there might not be. So it's really kind of like at the mercy of my computer's memory at any given time. So I had to put this in here. And believe me, I tried to think of every single possible way I could possibly come up with. And that's why this is a magic number, because I really am not happy with it. And I was really hoping I'd be able to go back and come up with some other way of doing it. But short of enlarging my grid, there was really nothing I could do. And like, again, as I said, that once you start moving forward, there's not much, you can't really go back and redesign whole systems if you're kind of crunched for time. So unfortunately, that's what had to stay. But yeah, so the Centipede, it kind of it works well in my opinion. I think it works very well. It's pretty stable from half a quarter ago. It was very unstable, and I felt like it was held together with duct tape. But as of right now, I'm really happy with it. It took me 2 weeks to hunt down that unalignment. Oh, and this is the old if statement, so you can kind of compare to see how I changed the old if statement from the new if statement, and how much better the update is. I'm sorry, if statement update. That was the old update, and this is the new update, and it's much cleaner and much more concise. But other than that, it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot more to talk about besides the directions factory being a singleton, and this is it returns the instruction packs. And I had to repeat this because when I was putting in just one value and hoping that they would repeat it 9 times because it knew that the array was 9, it wasn't doing that. So I knew that I was going to have to come back in here and repeat it over and over and over again, so it knew that that's what it was. But yeah, so when it asks for it, it just returns a pointer to the array, and then it uses that to decide which direction it goes, because it gets the move offsets, and the move offsets are those are the direction factories. These are the move offsets right here. Kind of just plugged it in with your move state. I'm kind of going like ad lib here, so I'm running out of things because I'm trying to see if I covered everything. I feel like I did, but I mean I swear there's got to be more to talk about here. No. I think that's it, I guess. Yeah. These are all like, this was because I was trying to fix that bug that detects if it's on the line or not, because for some reason it kept not being on the line. So it was a big problem for me. But I fixed the bug. I just didn't delete those functions yet. But yeah, the Centipede has had, if he gets hit, he converts, he calls back to the segment behind him and tells him to create the head. I think that's it, honestly. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video, and yeah, stay tuned.